I'd like to call the meeting to order. Could I have a roll call?
Wendy Volk,
Present.
Janelle Rose,
Present.
Dave Tubner,
Present.
Brian Bao,
Present.
Laurel Blotti,
Present.
Candace Wisdom,
Present.
Stan Hartzheim,
Present online.
Bria Hammock,
Present.
Barbara Sandick,
Present.
Jeff White.
Present.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Great. Thank you all for being here. The way we're going to roll today, I think, is to, I'm going to ask Sophia to read the press release as a just kind of statement of our position, and then open it up to any public forum or public input. I was maybe expecting more in the crowd today, so I was going to put a limit on 3 minutes to make sure that everybody's heard. I think it's super important that we hear from any constituents that want to speak. And then we would move to a motion and have discussion as a board and go from there. Does that sound right to you, Sophia? Okay, I'll pass it over to you if you read it into record.
Mr. President, the item is the cost benefit analysis task force recommendation, and I will read the press release as the staff report. After years of stabilization work and renewed alignment through the 2024 Plan of Development, the Cheyenne DDA's cost benefit task force has recommended a transition to the City of Cheyenne's Community Recreation and Events CRE department, moving the authority from a planning focused role into a project execution. The recommendation follows a year-long organizational review examining the authority's long-term effectiveness, stability, and capacity to deliver transformational downtown projects. The task force concluded that while city support remains critical to its long-term success as a municipal board still building capacity, the DDA is also ready to build its project implementation abilities. The Cheyenne Recreation and Events Department oversees many of the city's downtown initiatives, and the task force found strong alignment between these projects and the goals in the DDA's 2024 Plan of Development, creating an opportunity for closer coordination going forward. The task force also credited the Planning and Development Department under the leadership of Director Charles Bloom for guiding completion of the 2024 plan and providing critical organizational support during a pivotal period, laying the foundation for the current transition. This recommendation reflects an opportunity to better align the DDA with the work already happening downtown, said Dave Tubner, president of the DDA Board of Directors. We believe this structure will strengthen collaboration and help advance projects that support downtown Cheyenne while maintaining the DDA's mission and board governance. The recommendation also aligns with Executive Director Sophia Mays' transition to CRE Deputy Director, enabling the continued collaboration between the city and the DDA. Mayor Patrick Collins has expressed his support for the task force's recommendation. The DDA board invested significant time evaluating what organizational structure would best serve downtown, said Mayor Patrick Collins. This proposal will continue to help strengthen the DDA, protect the investment of downtown property owners, and position downtown Cheyenne for continued success. The recommendation and proposed amendments to the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Cheyenne and the DDA will be presented to the DDA board in early August for consideration before advancing through the city's approval process. And I have a correction there. It is the Community Recreation and Events Department of Cheyenne. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'll just add a little bit of commentary before the motion. When we were visit Cheyenne, in a lot of ways saved the DDA from my perspective in regards to trying to find it some stability in home when they merged. A lot of good things were done. I think there was a lot of challenges in regards to what is possible and what not possible sometimes within the city structure. And there was also a lot of challenges for them from my perspective. I'm speaking from my seat here in regards to a lot of push and pull, and even what can feel violent when you're on the other side of it as they try to move the DDA forward from outside forces. The push and pull on the city has been immense, or the DDA has been immense over the last 25 years. But all with an effort of passion to get this right and do great things. And so when Visit Cheyenne brought it back to the city, I don't speak for them, but as an observer, there was real challenges that it needed to come back, needed to stabilize. And in that process, we lost all capacity. We lost all staff. And I can tell you that I joined the board. The first board meeting was with Visit Cheyenne, and we learned that that transfer was going to happen. Visit Cheyenne was very supportive in trying to transfer that back to the city with continuity and connectivity. Regardless, capacity was lost, and real challenging times over the next 3 years to rebuild that position. The executive director of the DDA has turned over consistently for the last 25 years at a rate of 2.5. If we get to 3, we might start to break records over the last 15 years. And so there's been this constant turmoil or inability in which to hold strategic direction. When we started evaluating it, it's kind of, I've likened it to acquiring a failing company in the private sector, where you might have opportunity, it has great upside, it has great potential, but you kind of have to strip it down to its bones and take a look at what can it be the best at? What is its market? What is its budget? How can it operate? What are its legal restrictions? And what does the market need? And in a lot of ways, that's exactly what we did over the last few years, have been evaluating what the DDA can and cannot do, and what it should be doing, and what it can afford to do and what it can't afford to do. All of those things were just really infrastructural, organizational design kind of things. At the same time, there's been incredible accomplishments, and I'm not going to read them all because it's for another time. But the passage or the movement on 15th Street is monumental. We've put a lot of work into that. 2 important phases behind that. The passage of Reed Avenue, very important. I believe we're putting out more sponsorship money to secure events and bring traffic to the downtown than any one single year in the DDA's history. In the last 2.5 years, I believe we've put out more private sector grants for businesses that are redeveloping and the facade improvements ever, and created a sidewalk program that didn't exist, largely from Mr. Laybourne, that has been passionate about some of these infrastructural things that never had a program. And so there's some really great things that have happened. We'll be excited about a lot more announcements in the future, but through this process, we heard from the public, and it was really appropriate. A lot of fear about this organization coming into the city and getting swallowed by the city and not having this private sector influence that it's always had to be able to make sure that we're moving forward. And I share it. I shared it and I still share it. I think it's really important for the board to hold that position. At the same time, we're stabilizing still. This change with Sophia, we're very proud of her, the stabilization work that has been done. And to be recruited by a department that is, in our opinion, or my opinion, a real top dog and leader. And when you look at the department as a whole, it doesn't seem to fit, right? There's a lot in there. But then there's this segment of it that is clean and safe. It's parking garage, it's Fridays on the Plaza, it's assistance with hanging flags, infrastructural things, and it's a culture of getting things done and execution. at a level that really reminds me of private sector. And so private and public sector partnerships are the nexus of what move cities forward and economic development. And so we have to make sure that we're not going too far into government, but far enough into governments that we're getting some things done and some real deeper collaboration over the last few years. So we're excited about this opportunity, and we'll discuss more. I want to hear from the public. It's not perfect. This isn't a dusting of the hands. It's actually just a really incredibly rich opportunity and upside for the future of the city of Cheyenne and the heart of it in the downtown. So we'll take, would you give us a motion or someone?
I will. Mr. President,
Oh, sorry, we're going to take public comment first. That was too quick. I get confused between, do we need to open it? So let's open it to public comment. Try to keep it to 3 minutes if you can, but we want to hear from anyone.
Hello, I'm Amy Serdam. I own many properties downtown and vote on the mill levy election favorably every time. I look at you all and I feel confident. I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. I was a former DDA director, and so I've been really involved in that push and pull. And from an outside looking in, because I'm not involved in the day-to-day activities of the DDA, I am proud of the work that the DDA is doing, even under the city, which I also was hesitant about accepting that. I feel confident that under the recreation department, whatever the technical name is, it will further the stability and the organization. And so I firmly and proudly support that move and think it's the right direction for the DDA. And I also continue to support the investment of the DDA's funding, specifically to long-term strategic events, or not events, but long-term strategic planning of the downtown, particularly infrastructure. And yes, there is a room for events as well. Of course, we need people downtown, but furthermore, we need people living downtown, being downtown. It needs to be a place where people are, not just a destination. And so I've appreciated the budgeting on how those funds are spent and the responsibility that's been taken with the funds that have been voted on. I do think that it is like a failing company, except there's a massive budget every year that most failing companies don't get the opportunity to have. So you guys have done a great job, and I support this move. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, state your name and
And Charles Bloom, City of Cheyenne Planning and Development Director. First of all, I just wanted to voice my support for this transition. I really am impressed with the board, your subcommittee finding this, and what President Tubiner did mention about the ability to utilize a lot of the resources that CRE have right now. I think that's great. It really will put the DDA in a position where they can become movers to move on things immediately. Right now with the process, we do have grant programs that we look at. We do a lot of the procedural stuff, managing the boards, but we really lack that ability to react quickly. And when we've toured other DDAs, we've been to different conferences. One thing we've noticed is a very fundamental part of the DDA is to be able to react quickly and to get those things done, whether it's fixing a bollard that may have fallen down, to picking up an overturned trash bin, to helping assist with a community event, putting up banners and all of that. This is going to put them in a place where they can make that happen much more quickly because it's internal. I mean, they have a lot more support with the city. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I do support this, and I really appreciate the board and the task force work on this transition.
Thank you, Charles. I'm going to make a comment to that one. We owe a debt of gratitude to the planning department and Charles. the planning effort within the community and the property owners and all those things that led us to our plan of development. That in itself, in the middle of all this, was an enormous project and produced great work. And so we're deeply thankful.
Mr. President, members of the board, Jim Walter, President and CEO of Visit Cheyenne. Um, in our tourism master plan that was approved in 2021, downtown is a major focus of that tourism master plan. And every day when we go to work, the downtown is a central focus to what we're doing, what we're promoting, and what we're sending out to visitors and letting them know about our community. When we had the DDA under Visit Cheyenne, we thought it was going to be a good fit because Visit Cheyenne is known as an organization in the community that puts its heads down and gets things done. There were headwinds that we were up against that it just didn't work out. And obviously we chose to move on from that. But when I need to get things done in the downtown, the community recreation and events guys, they're the ones that get things done. And as you move from this transition of planning, the DDA has been planning for 25 years. And as you move away from this transition of planning and you get into this transition of doing, we fully support moving it under that umbrella because that department has a long track record of doing amazing things for our downtown and our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And I thank Visit Cheyenne for giving it a home and life at a critical time. Come on, don't be shy.
Mr. Chairman, since I see no further public comment, I move to approve the fiscal year 2027 City DDA Memorandum of Understanding amendments as presented and forward to the governing body for approval.
Mr. President, I apologize that that's the next item, agenda item. I believe
retract that.
Excuse me. I believe the motion would be to approve the cost benefit analysis task force recommendation.
Let me get the right. Others. And that. Sorry, Sophia, on that recommended motion that was in the said for, okay, I got it. Mr. Chairman, I move to formally establish the cost benefit analysis task force. No, I didn't think it was that one. I printed it. I printed everything.
Mr. President, there was no motion written out.
Okay.
A simple motion would be to move to approve the cost benefit task force's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Discussion from the board.
Mr. President, I'm online. I wanted to just throw a couple of my thoughts, as I know there's been some reluctance to this move, most simply because the word events is in the name of the CRE. And I wanted to kind of address as maybe the elephant in the room and say, and second some of what Mr. Dam and Mr. Walters said, the work that's been done in our downtown area by the CRE goes so far beyond events. And I think it's a misnomer that the DDA has no involvement with events. We still have budget line items to support organizations that are doing events. We have the ability to adjust that as needed.
You're good now, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have great service up here. I apologize. I'll try to get a little bit closer. There's a sentiment in tourism, specifically ecotourism, called regenerative tourism. And one of the ways that you do that is by creating some value in what you're doing, but also creating reverence for your area that you're trying to invite people to, and getting visitors to consider the place they're coming to like it's their own, like they would take care of their home. And I would say that a large amount of the work that the DDA has done over the last couple of years has been with that type of reverence. And I think that's the same attitude and reverence that the CRE brings to their job every day, especially the clean and safe, but multiple parts of that. So I just wanted to express strongly my support for the task force recommendation based on that alignment alone.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to echo the sentiments of what Stan had just said and shared with us, and what the members of the public have come. I want to publicly thank Jim Walter. I would like to thank Jason Sanchez and Charles Bloom and Sophia and the entire team and the board for what we have done. This is truly a major positive change. And I know it's really required everyone to roll up their sleeves and do some hard work. And I appreciate what everyone's done, but I'm very optimistic and encouraging of the work that we're about to tackle for this next phase.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to mention the continuity that this move provides for the DDA, for its staff, and for the board. This will allow us to continue without losing traction in a situation where we may have lost traction in if we tackle it a different way. And I'd like to acknowledge you for all the work you put into making this happen. It's been phenomenal work, and I think that everyone is excited about what's next.
Thank you. I wanted to add also that we evaluated a whole variety of things too. We explored merging with Leeds as we look to become a true economic development type of entity. And we looked at going out on our own as it had existed in the past for the last 25 years. We evaluated keeping it in the city under planning, and we evaluated, granted in a somewhat compressed at the end time, being under Parks and Rec because of all of those programs and alignments in the past. So it was a good exercise, and I want to give love to those that came and spoke and pushed us about getting back downtown. Those passions and motivations are well understood, and they're right. There's an importance in regards to the meaning behind that of still being connected to the downtown and those property owners and the stakeholders, and we cannot lose that. And that has come out. Sometimes it feels a little violently, but when you look underneath it, that passion is spot on. But at the same time, the organization needs stability. It has to hire these two positions really, really well, and continue its path to become a great development organization. So the evaluation was real enlightening, I think, to the committee, and looking at all of these options. But I want to give just love to the passion of the group that talked a lot about the importance of it moving out, right down to little things like probably in the next board meeting. One thing Glenn Garrett was passionate about right from the beginning that I really believe in is not being in this setting. And it does feel so governmental. It is very much the opposite of back in the day when I was on the board years and years ago. It felt private sector. It was around a conference table. It was moved around. We went into the business council and had our meetings, or we had them at the chamber places. And I think we can bring some of that flavor back. We have a lot of requirements of getting our information to the public, but we can handle that with technology. So we need to continue to look for these opportunities that those groups we're talking about. That isn't lost on us in this transition at all.
Mr. Chairman, I call the question. Do we have to vote? We have a motion.
I just want to make sure. Yeah.
First, Mr. Chair, sorry, misspoke. First, Mr. Chair, I just want to welcome both Ms. Hammock and Ms. Sandick to the board. It's a heck of a first meeting. I can sympathize because my first meeting as a council member, my first vote was on a very controversial liquor license. And I got sworn in and 10 minutes later, I'm voting on a liquor license. So I do know how you feel. But I agree with the comments that have been made here. I was very reluctant at first to continue DDA being housed in the city. However, I do see the need for that and understand that doing so continues the stability that we've seen. The other reasons, this is my third stint as council liaison for DDA. I've never seen a better board for DDA in my time on council. And I'm going to embarrass this individual, and I apologize for doing so. But in my time career as a public servant, I've seen very few better leaders than Mr. Sanchez. And so if you go into his office and you see his plan on his whiteboard, it may cause you tremors because he's got everything color coded and organized out. But all the projects are eventually end up with green, which means they've been completed. And so when you talk about getting things done, there's very few people I've seen in over 20 years as a public servant get things done like he does. And so with the combination of this board and organization being housed under that type of leadership, I feel very confident in that. And so that's why I'm going to be supporting it.
Thank you for that. I agree. And as Jason approaches, one of the things that I've noticed, I came from government. I was blessed to be able to be on the core team under Geringer that started the Department of Workforce Services. And there's this organic thing, push and pull of state employees and private sector. Too often, I find that the public sector is talked about as maybe slow, or the stereotype is slow and incapable or resistant. And I'll tell you, like, there's no, I appreciate those comments. I feel the same about Jason. What I like about what you said is every time I try to compliment Jason, his first response is he reflects it back on me, and it makes me feel uncomfortable because he says, not to compliment me, but he says, Dave, I got a great team. And those are the words he's always used. But there is no difference between Jason and the private sector. When Jason retires, there'll be a lot of companies like ours that would take him in a second. The same is true of Sophia for me, speaking personally, and Mia. And there's a lot of great talent that shows up incredibly well in the private sector. And we're really excited for public and private partnerships. This has some real potential and synergy because of that.
Mr. Chair, Jason Sanchez, Community Rec and Events. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I know it's out of order in the way the business is conducted. I appreciate all of the comments that folks are making. I will tell you, though, it's not one person. One person can't do all the things we do. It does take a team. It takes a lot of collaboration. When the gentleman on the phone mentioned the Community Recreation and Events title, it is odd, right? Because we do parks, cemeteries, golf courses, weed and pest. It's a lot of different things. But that's too much to put in a title. But one thing that our team of 12 divisions does well is they work together. They collaborate. And this partnership isn't a dusting of hands. It's a firm handshake that says we are all going to work together. We're in, you're in, all the downtown businesses. Everyone has the same goal in mind. Everyone wants to see the downtown succeed. It's a matter of us all working together. this is new for us. It's adding a little bit more to our workload, but we're excited to see what we can all do together. So you're not all off the hook. Everybody's in. I'll be banging on your door, talking to you, asking for some support, things that goals that you want to accomplish, goals we want to accomplish. But together and with all the other groups downtown, I think we could do a lot. So we're here. We're excited. It has to go through all the processes, get the governing body support as well. And then it's going to take time to prove that this was the right move. We can't just say it was. There's going to have to be proof in the pudding, and we're all going to have to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Sophia was selected as our dual deputy director. I want to mention that. We still have our second deputy, and that's Sam Payne. Sam's been with the city for 31 years. He's one of the hardest working people I know. He's still here to help guide us, to lead with us. And so with him, Sophia, and the rest of our team, I think we could accomplish a lot. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
I appreciate Jason and his words. I told you he deflects. So that's a case in point. I'd like to move that into the record. I also want to say to the board, this is a time of evaluation for all of us too. To match what Jason said, this can't be a board that shows up at a monthly meeting. We have to I will be recommending organizational structure around committees because we have a lot of exciting things that we've been working on in the background for the last 2 years that the public really doesn't know about, largely in partnership with leads. And so there'll be some exciting meetings, but I want everybody on the board to evaluate their reality of time and commitment. You know, a volunteer board is difficult because you're working. But this board, what it needs next is some committee work, some real time and effort. And this isn't about giving it to Jason and hoping it goes well. And if that's not what we want to be a part of, and that's not criticism, if we're too busy or it doesn't feel right, or you don't want to put hours into these committees and the places we're going, that's okay. But we need your seat. And we got to make a good decision of who we put on the board in the next couple of years, because it'll be critical. We will be rowing as hard as or harder than Jason and his team. This isn't a drop and dump. It's actually just a real great opportunity for the next stages of the DDA and economic development, and the understanding, the depth of understanding of that science is really important for our future. And that's going to take capacity and time and understanding. And we've done a lot of that work to get there and to understand the difference. But now in execution mode, you run faster, pace picks up. And so I just want to say that you are the right board. You're getting complimented often. And we have some new athletes that are demonstrating success in our downtown and investment, and just really thrilled to have all of you on the board and through this process. So I thank you. I give speeches better than I give wandering speeches better than I give this stuff. So any other comments before we? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, the next agenda item is the approval of the fiscal year 2027 City DDA MOU, the amended version.
You've been waiting for this, Wendy.
Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to move to approve the fiscal year 2027 City DDA Memorandum of Understanding amendments as presented and forward to the governing body for approval.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Public comment? And discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have the next board meeting scheduled yet?
Mr. President, the next scheduled board meeting is September 17th because the August 20th board meeting was canceled.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to orient around. Okay.
Mr. President, through you, the location will be at Western Vista, 1920 Thumbs.
And I should have mentioned, I really appreciate Western Vista. That's an example of that private vibe. And they've gone out of their way to open their door to us and use their technology. And do you feel the difference, right? When we're in that setting, it's more discussionary, and that's why I'm passionate about it. It's why Glenn is passionate about it. He's not wrong. And so we can take those steps, and we're really deeply grateful for that. And it's not to not keep using you, but I also like the idea of moving it around and exploring them. Okay, stop talking, Dave. Anything else from you, from staff?
No, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you all. Meeting adjourned. Let's get to work.